And whose team is this? Is this your team? Or is this your daddy's team?
Thanks for listening to the Dad Mode Podcast, common sense parenting in a politically correct world. Here's your host, Andy Carlson.
Welcome back to the Dad Mode Podcast, common sense parenting in a politically correct world. We're back. Yeah. I'm your host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Twitter. I'm a father. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you don't either. They're Chiefy, so let's try and learn something together today. Website is dadmodepod.com. Tweet at me, at dadmodepod. That's the show Twitter's account, or just use the hashtag dadmode. Joining me again this week, Uncle Nick, at Nickerson on Twitter. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's great to be back. Glad we got to have a good week to meet up and do this again.
Of the Nickerson podcast. That's right. What was your episode this week about?
It was just catching up on the latest trending news stories of Hollywood. You know, a lot of the entertainment things going on. A little bit of reflecting of all the the tragedy that happened in the last couple of weeks. But I actually did a lot of sports stuff. I talked a little bit about the ESPY Awards.
What?
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Check that out again on iTunes. Or do you have a website?
I don't have a website. No.
You should get a website.
I'll put that on my thing to do list.
NicksTreasureBox.com.
Let me look that up here. And that is taken. It's a porn site, believe it or not.
Yeah, probably. All right, so we're getting together again. We didn't have an episode last week because I was in Chicago, and frankly, I didn't really want to do one. But Nick is back, and Nick is it's a busy time of year for you.
Yes. My career, I work in the environmental industry, and summers are usually kind of my busy time. Clients and they want stuff done right away, and we get a lot of different clients who want it all done at the same time. So Nick gets a little sleep during the summer months.
Yeah, wait till they have a kid.
Nah. I bet you can sleep a lot.
Actually, I sleep really good because the wife has like the motherly powers, and she's like, I will get up with the baby during the night. You keep sleeping, and not in like a sarcastic, passive aggressive way. Like she actually just likes doing it. Or, well, like is probably a tough word, or not the right word for it, but doesn't mind it. I don't know why, but I'm very fortunate to have that arrangement.
You had Muggsy's had a little over a year now. Are we still having I never know how long do sleepless nights go? Is it just for infant stages, or does it go through
usually if the kid isn't colicky, couple months while they're young, and they have to eat like every 2 to 3 hours. But now she's sleeping through the night pretty good. Maybe gets up once for a bottle and a butt change, and that's really about it. So I think we're starting to get pretty lucky in that aspect.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Also great, well, no, terrible. The opposite of great is what's been going on in the news, and a lot of it right here close to home, right in your neighborhood, Nick. And that was, of course, the Falcon Heights shooting of Philando Castile, who was just buried this past week, and the whole thing of police brutality, police shooting black men. It's the narrative that keeps on giving. Even though we're recording on Thursday, and there was a unarmed white teen shot and killed by a cop, but of course that didn't make the news. That is barely making a imprint on things because, but what else? But Nick, what was your first reaction when you heard that happen basically in your backyard?
I didn't believe it. I thought they were talking about a different Falcon Heights, Minnesota. Yeah. It blew my mind because I live by the State Fair. Everyone a little near it down there, and that's where Falcon Heights is.
I don't like how the national news is running with Falcon Heights like it's like actual city. It's a neighborhood. Just say St. Paul.
I wish, because technically the city where I live, Lauderdale,
or just say Roseville. Because it was Roseville PD.
It technically wasn't. It was another small neighborhood called St. Anthony. They were the cop. They were the cops. St. Anthony, which is
the headline could have said St. Anthony Falls.
Ooh,
yeah, that's good. But it was surreal. You know, when she Diamond was live streaming the Facebook thing, and she said, "We're on the corner of Larpenteur and what." I'm like, oh my God, we drive there. I know exactly where that is.
No, it's heart wrenching, and I drive down Larpenteur, on the weekends, and I've seen there are memorials that are larger memorials on both sides of the street, north side and south side of Lauderdale, and there are groups of people, both black and white, being there together. I mean, this was it was a tragic situation.
And of course, couple that with the shooting in Baton Rouge, and then of course the we'll just call it police execution in Dallas, because that's exactly what it was by that nut job. And not exactly a great time in the long history of law enforcement and race relations. So that's what I wanted to talk about today is how do I want my kids to view police? Because especially I feel for white people, young white people, probably leaning more left on the political scale, it's very in vogue to be part of the black movement, the Black Lives Matter, and hating cops, talking about, oh, these cops ain't shit, all they want to do is kill black people, blah, 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 blah. And, that sort of thinking is very toxic, whereas statistically, do law enforcement seem to, well, not target, but arrest more African-American men? Yes. Do they tend to shoot more African-American men? Statistically, yes. But is every single cop out there just have a hard-on for killing black people, just completely racist? No, absolutely not. And I feel like the majority of cops just want to protect, literally serve, do their jobs, and get home safe to their families. And that right now, the police are, pardon the really terrible pun, in the crosshairs.
This situations that have been going on, it shows that the mistakes of a minority is, through social media, through the public eye, it makes it look like every cop is a bad guy, and and it's terrible, and it's hard without knowing all the facts to judge and to understand what's going on with all these things going on. And this isn't the first time it's happened. It's been going on throughout our history forever, and I think the biggest thing is trying to figure out how to fix it, and I'm scared to say I don't know if there is a way to fix it. I don't know if there's a way to end.
Well, Nick, it's thoughts and prayers, and we need to love each other more, and all those other platitudes that people put out there. Yeah, I love when celebrities just like tweet out or put out Instagram stuff is like, we need to stop this! ! We need to love each other more. And then it gets like 500,000 likes, and just like congratulations, what have you done? You've accomplished nothing. Thank you very much, Captain No Shit. But hey, good job out there. At least you can think that you're a good person. Awesome. But as far as the relationship between African Americans and law enforcement, of course, it goes back to, way back to slavery and post-slavery and Jim Crow laws and civil rights movement, especially when law enforcement were sick of dogs and water cannons, water hoses on peaceful, by the way, African American protesters. And it's a bit of a self-perpetuating cycle in that I don't blame black parents for telling their kids that, hey, watch out for police. They have it out for us. They'll bash your skull in. They'll shoot you for no real reason. And it was true. Back then, it probably damn was true. And then at the same time, I don't blame law enforcement for kind of ingraining into their officers that, like, hey, watch out. African Americans, especially males, tend to have a poor attitude towards law enforcement, and they think that we're going to bash their skulls in every single time. So watch out; they could be more hostile, more aggressive towards you. So have your guard up. And then, even as we're getting more enlightened, more progressive as a country, which we are, by the way, and it's like a self-perpetuating cycle where African Americans don't trust cops, cops don't trust African Americans because they know that they don't trust cops, and it just keeps going round and round.
I think what makes this really difficult, and I have to plain out say, it's that I'm not a cop and I'm not African American, so
what?
It's hard.
Wait a minute, Nick, hold on. For my entire time I've known you, for 13 years.
Oh my God, yeah.
I thought that you were Michael Winslow from Police Academy.
I know I have the charisma.
I swear to God, I thought that you were an African American police officer, Nick. Damn it. Wow. You learn something new every day. Sorry, go ahead.
Anyways, it's hard to, I want to have a view. I want to have an opinion on this stuff. And I'm very carefully on this podcast. I won't list my thoughts and beliefs too much on it just because I don't want to piss people off. But,
no, it's okay. That's what Facebook's for. God.
It's just... and I have to look at it honestly. I didn't grow up in an African American household, so maybe my views would be different if I was black. Or
you kind of grew up African American style, though.
Mixed race families. I mean, we could talk about that later on in the podcast.
Does your dad smoke menthols?
I don't think they're menthols.
Okay. Oh wait, doesn't he roll his own cigarettes?
He does.
That's pretty badass.
Jeez. Okay. So from one side there, as I said, I didn't grow up in African American. I didn't grow up in a, white police household either. So it's really hard to want to argue either or side because it never related to me. I never had to deal with the issues like this. Growing up in the suburbs, it was pretty plain. Well,
Roseville as a suburb, that's kind of a thin label, And me growing up in basically 99.9% lily white, we never even had an African American guy or family growing up in our town. But with you in Roseville and also St. Paul, and St. Paul is kind of predominantly white, like Irish working class, and then also some African Americans, some. A lot of the Asian population is moving into St. Paul now. What's been like growing up and then also to now? Like, what's your general experience with everything mixing like that?
Everything. I'm trying to think a good way to word this here. I don't want to say that we've been so. I don't know. I grew up in a dominant white neighborhood and. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. Where I grew up in Roseville, there wasn't really a lot of African Americans or strict Asian groups. Maybe my later years, but everyone. I don't think there was ever racism at all. Like our '90s growing up, I think our suburb was fairly neutral.
The Roseville Raiders. And I'm looking around at like young parents now, and taking like young African American parents out of the equation, which may already have a predisposed, feeling towards law enforcement from their upbringing. But say you have like suburbanite young white couple with like some young kids, right? And they're watching the news every single night. It's seemingly with a 24-hour news cycle and driving the narratives, it seems like police officers shoot and kill a black man every other day. And their opinions, whether it be misled by the media or them just trying to be righteous on the right side of history, just like those 35W protesters the other day, which were all white. And it's like you're almost trying to overcompensate. You're almost trying to overprove that you're a good person, and here, let me show you. And I feel like some of those people could be potentially warp the views of their kids by, if the kids are old enough to comprehend what's going on, they'll ask mommy, what's going on with the news? Why are they showing so many cops? And mommy will be like, well, I'll tell you what's happening. All those cops, they're a bunch of they're terrible people. All they want to do is put a bullet in a black man. Do not trust them. Zero trust at all. Whereas, when you and I were growing up, cops were always meant to be like, cops are your friends. Cops will help you out. If you're in trouble as a kid or a teenager, just like, well, maybe not a teenager. Teenagers have a much different relationship with cops, but that's another podcast for another day. But as a young kid, cops were the ones you go to protection. Like if you're lost, you go see a cop. He'll give you a ride home or get you safely to where you need to be, and he'll probably give you candy because he's awesome. Cops are cool.
Nope, I completely agree with that. And overall, I want to always generally believe, that's what cops are meant to be for. I think as adults, obviously, when I see a cop, typically if I'm driving, my biggest concern is, he's going to give me a ticket for speeding because obviously I don't want that. I don't want that on me. And, you start questioning, God, am I breaking the law every time? And, as adults, I think you view it a little bit differently. But generally, I think still people can still believe and trust in cops, generally most cops.
Yeah, and just what the wife and I are going to plan to teach Muggsy and future kids is that just that, cops are your friend. You go to them for help. They're going to protect you. And if some more stories come in the news, hopefully not, like when she and other kids are old enough to comprehend, we'll just be like, well, sometimes there are some incidents, but it's a small percentage of the overall law enforcement, which are predominantly, I would wager that probably like 97% of, well, maybe that's a little high, 94% of law enforcement police officers are good people. They are there for the right reasons. And maybe 6% are there just because they want to wear the uniform, they want to carry a gun, they're the dumbest mofos from your high school class, and all they want to do is, deep down secretly, just want to bash a black guy's skull in. And maybe 6% is a little high on that, but probably we'll say 6% don't have the right attitude to be there. And, they think that they're paramilitary, they think that they're special forces, Navy SEALs, and they're just like, no, you're a beat cop. How about you de-escalate things, huh? And I don't know, like my experience with law enforcement, I was thinking about this today, and obviously I'm not African American. I'm a minority, though, and yes, it is not a one-for-one comparison. The whole walk a mile in their moccasins sort of thing. But every interaction I've had, whether it be small town cop in my hometown or cops in Winona when we were to school, or cops up here in the Twin Cities, it's always been cordial. And mostly it's been, I'm sorry, officer, I did not know how fast I was going. And even in Winona, when getting busted for partying and getting my minor that one time, it was all cordial. Yeah, mainly because I was taught as a kid, and I'm going to teach this to my kids, is that, hey, if you're approached by a police officer, be very respectful. Don't talk shit. Do whatever he or she tells you to do, and don't cause a scene, and you'll be fine. And I feel like too many people who probably weren't disciplined as a child, whether it be absentee parenting or the parents weren't there completely, is just have a problem with authority. And soon as you tell a cop, say you get one of those 6% cops, right, that are all just testosteroned up and just ready to throw down at a moment's notice, say you get one of those cops. You lose the cop lottery. And he pulls you over and you start talking shit. You start being incredulous, and all of a sudden things get escalated and you get shot just because you aren't complying. And yes, you may be in the wrong. Yes, he may have pulled you over for a chicken shit reason, but just do whatever he or she tells you to do, and you won't be shot the majority of the time. I'll play those odds.
No, I think you nailed it. Right on the head there.
Like the time that we got pulled over in Winona. You remember that?
Well, at the time when I was carpooling you guys, I had my friend Jesse. She was was that from the toga party?
No, it was like evening, but it wasn't dark out. We're going east on Broadway, and you got pulled over by a rather portly police officer, and I was like, so he came and got your license and registration. Then he waddled back to his car, and then I was like, Nick, we can run. He'll never catch us.
Was that when I was going like 40 and a 30?
Yeah, something like that.
Did I get a ticket for that?
I don't know.
I feel like I don't think I got a ticket. I might have just gotten a warning from him.
Yeah. But did you ever have talk with your parents, or was it just kind of like they just respect the cops?
I think elementary school was a thing. I remember the DARE program was such a big deal, and I think we had cops come to our elementary school and talk. Said obey the rules and laws and stuff. But thinking about it as a kid, how often in school were you ever taught what the rules of the law were? Like the do not kill. Like were you? I mean, there are a lot of laws I could have been breaking because I wasn't schooled enough.
Like age of consent in Minnesota is actually 16.
What?
Yeah. You didn't know
I did not know that.
Oh, well, yeah, I probably should look that up, Nick. And I've read, it seemed like every time there's an African-American shooting, and again, I don't want to diminish this, but it seems like there's a whole bunch of articles about, from black writers saying about what the talk was like when they were kids. And usually it's the talk of the parents who had experienced real racism, usually, back in the 60s and whatever, and telling them, exactly what we talked about early on, is that never trust cops. They're out to kill you. They're out to hurt you. And generally just try and stay away from them, or always have your guard up. And that might have been true when they were kids, the parents that were growing up in the 50s and 60s. But now I feel like that attitude is not a constructive one to have, as we're trying to love each other more and end the madness and that whole thing. And I feel like if, and again, it's hard to do because we're not black, and we can't say that. But just having an attitude of not coming into a situation with police where you automatically think that they're going to kill you or they're going to do harm upon you, I think that will go a long way to de-escalating a lot of these situations.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
So, Nick, don't talk shit to the cops. Yeah, knock it
Did
out.
you ever see? There was this. I think from the shooting before this last month, the previous one. I remember seeing a lot of a viral video of an old, I think, Chris Rock episode, or like from like a sketch from like the Chris Rock show, where he talks about how to avoid getting your ass kicked by the police. I would definitely recommend looking it up. It's hilarious, and a lot of things. I know he's doing it as like a satire, but yeah, I mean, he brings up points. If you have a bad attitude, or if you're doing illegal stuff, cops, may whoop you.
And here's the thing that no one's talking about because it's not convenient to the narrative, is that each of these situations in Baton Rouge and then in Minnesota, the victim, the one who was shot, did have a firearm. And Castile seems he did have it legally registered. He was licensed to carry it on his person. But if I'm pulled over by the cops and I know I have a gun on me, and the entire time I'm like freaked out, I'm going to be sticking my hands out the window. I am not moving an inch, and that whole thing, because the Minnesota shooting happened right after the Baton Rouge one. So everyone was already kind of on edge. Another law enforcement shooting a black man, and sitting in that cop's shoes, when you pulled over Castile and Diamond, and the driver tells you that he has a gun, he's licensed to carry a gun, but he has a gun, you're automatically shitting your pants, right? You're thinking about, oh my God, here's another situation. What if they'll go south? What if I do have to shoot the driver, and then I'm the pariah? I'm the racist. I'm the terrible person, even though I think he's Hispanic or Asian, something like that.
With this particular story, I don't know too much. I haven't gotten a lot of info about this police officer. Probably for safety reasons for the cop, because I'm assuming he's marked.
Yeah, and you can even hear in his voice off of Diamond's video that he's freaked out. I told him not to reach for it. He's almost crying. Like his voice is trembling. It's shaking. And does that sound like the voice of a guy who wakes up every morning and just wants to put a bullet in a black man? No. There's so much to do. Like, all right, so Muggsy grows up and is packing, right? She's like, Daddy, I take my 9 all over the place. Trump, the first 4-term president, Trump. Yeah. So Muggsy's like that. And I will tell her, like, if you're carrying a weapon or anything like that, if you ever interact with police and that gun is on your person, you make 0 moves that could even be construed as you reaching for your weapon, because they will be on a hair trigger with you knowing that you have a gun on your person. So don't scratch your nose. Don't reach for your pack of Newports, Margaret, even though I hope you don't smoke. I kind of hope you don't carry a gun either. Yeah, don't reach for your phone if it goes bing because there's a Pokemon near, even though I doubt that fat will last. Don't do anything. You don't do shit. You just have your hands out. You do not move an inch.
Hang on just one second. I just caught a... Sorry, what?
Wait, so what is this Pokemon thing?
Do you really want to go through that right now?
No, I do not.
Okay, quickly. It's geocaching for kids / adults.
And how many people have been raped and murdered using the Pokemon? Not particularly in that order.
I think there was an armed robbery, I believe, from what I'm told.
Yeah.
Like people were able to track the user, like, going solo out to try catching Pokemon, and I heard that. I haven't heard of any rapes or murders.
Does it freak you out at all that the app has access to your location and full access to your Gmail?
I kind of assume that everything that's on my iPhone is controlled by someone, either by Apple or Verizon, or
you're being watched all the time, Nick. Yeah.
I'm kind of assuming that the Freemasons are watching me. The eye is always watching.
And you remember the movie Dark Knight?
Yes.
When he sets up that sonar phone operation that basically maps out the entire city through people's cell phones to find the Joker.
Yeah, that totally made sense.
No one talks about how creepy and how terrible that would be because it probably already exists. Like, guaranteed there is something like that.
I'm sure it exists. I think it's one of those things where, like, people know about it, but we don't talk about it.
Now, see, if that was the government, people would lose their shit and flip out. But since it's Batman, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, Batman. Yeah, it's good. But I don't know if we accomplished anything, but I kind of liked our chat.
It was
I agree with you.
It was an interesting thing. Can I say one more thing about that incident in Roseville? Yeah, there's been multiple shooting instances with African Americans and cops, and this one has gotten highly escalated, mainly due to social media and Facebook.
Facebook's just a waste of space.
And it's tragic. The story, sounds so tragic, and it sounds awful, and it's heartbreaking. Obviously, this person sounds like a decent human being, and the motive of recording a video of a loved one dying and then posting it on Facebook. It took a while for me to process it after a while, because you're so shocked hearing about this incident that happened, and now you actually have video of it, but then you have to step back and be like, did she just post that on Facebook? It
was live streamed.
It just don't live stream something like that. Don't do no. Record it and send proper authorities or proper press releases. Don't do it on the social media. That's all I wanted to like.
Oh, I thought you were attacking social media from the angle of the preachy, like 500-word post is just like, we as a nation must rise together. We need to end the violence and the hate. How all lives matter, but especially Black lives matter. How is this tearing our nation apart?
Well,
all that other bullshit.
We talked about that at the beginning, though. I mean, it's nice to say things, but I mean, you're not changing laws. You're not, people aren't changing. They're not replacing the police force with something else. You have to go. You have to make some physical changes in order to, make.
Well, the analogy I've been throwing around is say we're at a bar and you got a bowl of popcorn that we're all munching on, and the bowl of popcorn is empty. And how are you going to refill that bowl of popcorn? Is it going to be like, well, thoughts and prayers for the popcorn bowl? It just how do things like this happen in this world? And also, it's like, this needs to stop. Popcorn lives matter. We need to get more popcorn in our lives and just love each other more. Or no, how would you just get off your ass and actually fill up the bowl, and then we'll all have popcorn and we'll all be happy.
Not a lot of people want to get up.
It's armchair activism. Oh, slacktivism. I think that's what
you want to call it?
Some people call it, yeah. But hey, Pokemon Go, it's good. It's getting people out and getting people exercise, and then they go and block 35W. Now, is it bad that when I first saw that there was people on the highway blocking it, that I thought that they were playing Pokemon? It's like, those motherfuckers. They put a Squirtle right near the memorial for the bridge collapse. How dare they?
Those bastards.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Nick is on podcast. What should people be looking for?
Next week, I hope to be more on top of my scheduling game and have a better script and some stuff planned. I think I'm going to do a part 2 review of the upcoming movies coming out of the rest of the year. My first episode, one of my first couple episodes in the early spring, I try to talk a lot about the movies that are coming out this year, and it's hard to get all the movies, especially the ones coming in November, December. But it's July now. I think I'll have a little bit of time, a little bit of leeway to talk about all the upcoming films in the fall and winter.
Nick, I think you're going to find out as you go podcasting, the less prep, the better. Because for this show, I have 6 words written down. YOLO. YOLO is 4 of them. Yeah. All right. If you want to show some love to the show, just spread the word. Tell a friend. Get it out there. And also Amazon, dadmopod.com/Amazon. Redirect right to the homepage. Bookmark it. Every time you buy something, just use that link. dadmopod.com/Amazon. All right. The show's available on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. We're at dadmopod. I'm at Andy Carlson Show, and Nick is at Nickason, and the website is dadmopod.com. But until next time, be a man, be a father, go dad mode, and we'll talk to you later.
Think the episode you just heard is worth $1? Well, send it our way. Visit dadmodepod.com/support to find out how. Be a man, be a father. Go dad mode. The music is created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, visit soundcloud.com/Deeb.